Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. This is actually two parts to this video. So the second part is last night, Glenn Kellaway from the basement and I did a almost 2 hour live chat. And if you didn't see the part where we both showed 10 albums that we wish our friends, our family, our viewers would check out and fall in love with like we have, including the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, which I now consider one of the greatest albums ever. So check out the video. It'll be coming up. Glenn doesn't like it quite as much. But last night, I received this message on my top 10 albums of 1969, and I think it was worthy enough to, to talk about in a video. Uh, I think I even mentioned it in the live chat last night about music and what a waste of energy it is to argue over music. Maybe some of you enjoy it. That's fine. I just, for myself, I don't, if somebody doesn't like something that I like or love, I'm not gonna, I don't care. uh, and so here we go. This is what this person wrote. So the name is, I can't even pronounce it. I looked up the name and anar anartic. I don't know, and there's no such thing. But he does have it trademarked, as you'll see. So he said, I made an ashtray out of my brand new copy of Grand Funk's first LP. I don't think you like the album. Hype, mindless noodling, and half-hearted boogie by amateurs does not a classic album make. So, I included Grand Funk in my top 10 classic rock albums of 1969, and he's telling me that that's not a classic, buddy. Yeah, and then here's a list. So this list is the one, not my list. Here's a list of highly listenable albums by artists who took the time to learn to play their instruments and had something to say besides, where's the money? Not a Black Sabbath or a Grand Funk on it. So obviously, besides Grand Funk, he's probably made a ashtray out of some Black Sabbath albums. These are essential to any collection. The best of rock 1969. So my list of whatever I chose doesn't count. And then he puts this quote, those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. By Mary Hopkins, I knew that. On the charts, 9/28/68 to 12/25/68. Number 2 for 3 weeks. Blocked by Hey Jude, also written by Paul McCartney. I know that. Thank you. So let's see his list. Best of 69, Abbey Road, number 1. I think we could be friends. Let It Bleed, The Band, Jethro Tull Stand Up, the Allman Brothers Band, Bayou Country by Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bayou Country. I know somebody corrected me on how I said that. So far, so good. Bob Dylan, Nashville Skyline, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Led Zeppelin, Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, Tommy, Santana, Boz Scaggs, Then Play On by Fleetwood Mac, The Soft Parade, Led Zeppelin 2, Willie and the Poor Boys, Town and Country, Stand, Spooky 2, Neil Young, and Blind Faith. Great list. Janis Joplin and Procol Harum and On the Threshold of a Dream by the Moody Blues. Once again, CCR, Joe Cocker, Volunteers, Arthur, and In the Court of the Crimson King. And yeah, there it is there. Copyright, BW, whatever that means, 2023, Anartech. Yeah, TM. See the TM? So I did reply. And by the way, that is a great list. Nothing wrong with that. I couldn't argue with that. But I guess, he doesn't like Grand Funk and Black Sabbath. So I replied, I am a huge fan of Grand Funk Railroad and Black Sabbath, the Aussie years. Perhaps you think they are amateurs who have nothing to say, but you are wrong. You just don't like their music, which is fine. There's no need to insult these musicians who actually play their instruments very well and have both put out many classic albums. If you listen to songs like After Forever by Black Sabbath or Closer to Home, I'm Your Captain by Grand Funk, they do have something to say. Just like all of the fine artists you have listed in your top 30 list. And then I put Canadian Studmuffin, trademark, because I'm trademarked. So yeah, that's it. Just, I don't know, it's some people, they're like snobs. It's like, it's fine that he doesn't like Black Sabbath or Grand Funk, but they're definitely talented musicians, and yeah. So that's it. So next up is from our live chat last night, and I hope you do check out some of the albums, and also I would love your thoughts. I'm kind of obsessed with the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds lately. I kind of talk about it a bit, of course. I almost want to make a separate video, but I've always really, really liked it. But it's never been, a favorite of mine. But I don't know if it's the 50th anniversary mix of it on Spotify. That's the one I've been listening to. But last week it just hit me. Like, I just loved every second of every song, even the instruments. And I think, like, it's in my top 10 albums of all time now. And that's it. So please check out what we've recommended coming up. And I would love to know what you've heard and what you haven't heard. And if anybody checks out any of the albums that Glenn and I talk about, we really thank you and appreciate it. Bye. Okay. Amateur. Two more to go for me. This one, Glenn mentioned he was going to include, but he figured I would include. I tell you, anybody watching this, if you love music, period, you need to check out this album. It's actually kind of grown in stature over the years, but when it was released, it was kind of ignored. He was in the Byrds. It is Gene Clark, no other. It is his vocals to begin with. They're just out of this world. And then the music. What are your thoughts on it, Glenn?
I consider it in the same vein as, like I said, with Joe Walsh's Barnstorm, with Van Morrison's Astral Weeks. It has a certain mood when you put it on that lasts all the way through it, that just goes right through you. It's just a beautiful record.
And it's got elements of country, but it's not a country album.
No.
Country, but it's got it's almost like prog country pop. It's everything.
The playing is brilliant. Like, there's beautiful guitar and great, like you said, great vocals. The lyrics are great. The production's great. It's just, the album just works. It's a perfect record.
And when it starts, it's like, it kind of sounds like your typical good country pop album, but don't be fooled. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Brilliant album. Brilliant.
Your last one, Glenn.
Larry, again, this is my fifth favorite album of all time and was released in the 2000s. I know this gentleman gets lots of praise these days and everything, but this album to me is just like, from the first time I heard it, talk about brilliant, perfect, genius. Steven Wilson's Hand Cannot Erase.
Yeah. I agree. I got that.
The best album released in the past since English Settlement. Those two would be the best albums released in the last 40 years. This is just incredible.
Yeah.
It's got a theme to it, concept album about a woman who died tragically. Let's leave it at that. And just, it's got elements of Pink Floyd, elements of Rush, some elements of King Crimson, elements of all the prog bands, plus Stephen Wilson's great vocals and words and lyrics and songs. And
it's based on a true story of this woman being run over by a lawnmower, and the scary thing is she was the one pushing the lawnmower.
Yeah. She jumped in front to pull a weed, and she forgot to turn the advance on the lawnmower. It was really sad.
Sometimes even I find myself funny. Oh, there's one to go. I wonder what I'm gonna mention.
Oh, it better not be a Sparks album. That's too.
No,
that's
it's
too
not
predictable,
Sparks.
Larry. It's too predictable.
No, it's not Sparks.
Okay.
This album, Glenn.
Sgt. Pepper.
When I was listening to it last night, I was almost at one point thinking, is this the greatest album ever?
Wow.
Because every time now, Glenn, and I'm picking up new things every time with it. I finally got it, ladies and gentlemen. And if you haven't got it yet, I recommend you keep listening. It is the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds.
Yeah, that's not an album that everybody knows that record.
You got it. I'm going to get you.
I don't, Larry. It's my life.
It's my life
1,000 times
job to get you to love this as much as I do.
I've heard it 1,000 times.
You will.
It's a good album.
It's a great album. It's one of the greatest albums ever, Glenn.
It's not a masterpiece.
So, in one of our future CD things, I've
heard it 14 million times. I could discuss that album with you.
You were reading off the songs and you didn't even recognize what they were, like whatever that is. You got to listen, Glenn.
I'm not listening.
I'm going to get you in a headlock. And well, if you had any hair.
Noogies on my head.
Yeah. So that's about it. So
I'm getting out of here now. You've insulted me. Now you're threatening me. I'm out.
So I'll go back a bit here.
Let me say, Larry, Pet Sounds is a fine album. I do not dislike Pet Sounds. I don't think it's the best album ever made.
I think, plus with your new system, and maybe it's the 50th
Larry, I had an
anniversary
audio
mix,
recording of it.
Maybe it's the 50th anniversary mix, because I think they remixed it again. And you got to listen to it.
Please, tell them to stop it. Please.
Here we go. Y'all like the Allman
Brothers.
Brothers?
The Allman Brothers.
No, I'm not big on that. Yeah. Prelude, Nothing to Hide.
Mm-hmm.
Lost is great. I'm a Krautrock nerd.
Krautrock nerds.
This one's for Glenn.
I bought a Joy Division album and don't know which one I got.
I think that's the one.
I think it is, and
you gave to me.
You know what? I can't really comment because I played it once or twice, and then I found things in there that interested me, and then I never went back to it. So I should pull it out again and listen.
I meant the album, not just the song. There's a kind of hush. Okay. Yep.
All over the world tonight.
Vinyl, any CD. How about Lonesome Crow, the first Scorpions album? It was Prague and Psyche. Never heard it.
I've never heard it either. Tons of Sobs. I don't know if I've heard that one. Dan, you are so right.
Not sure. No idea.
I'm not sure about that either. I hope not. Faust 4 is insane.
No, there is Genius.
It is Genius. I am, Dan.
Yeah, I like him too. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Glenn almost had the opportunity of seeing Sly and the Family Stone.
Show on me. Yeah.
Except they didn't show up.
I think they did that quite often in the late 60s.
Yeah, yeah. So was the crowd not kind of mad?
No, I think everybody was stoned.
Yeah.
It was 1969, Larry.
Yeah,
I don't think
they
anybody
thought